Okay, we're live. Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to FunnelTV, the Travel Tech channel. This is a new episode. This is going to be a very crazy Friday. Telling you why, because we have a lot of guests. So I don't know how it's going to end this episode. Welcome. Good afternoon, Simone, Federica, and Mark. How are you guys?
Good.
Hello.
Great.
Great.
Thanks. Good.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Right. So let's go straight to the point, Simone. Give us a little, insight of the news you are going to share today, and then we introduce the guest.
Yeah, we will talk a little about some very cool partnership and some cool hotel brands out there. A few good news on the coronavirus side, and of course, a ton of news about the new technology.
Fantastic. All right.
And I have very, very, very special guests today.
Okay, so let's welcome them. So we have Lennert from CitizenM. We have Klaus from Ideas, and Dominic from Hotel Insight. How are you guys? Good afternoon.
Hey guys.
Thanks for having us. Buongiorno.
Buongiorno, Klaus.
Bravo, very good. That's very good.
My Italian is a bit rusty, but it works once in a while.
Okay.
Too many Italian around, guys.
I always say that there are too many Italians except for in Italy. We're pretty much everywhere except that in Italy.
Cool, Simone.
Yeah.
How do we start? Should we make a round table just to introduce?
Let's do what I always do, guys. So you know the rules now. I will at the end of the show I will take 10 minutes to interview you or so. And what I would like from you now is if you can describe yourself in a couple of sentences, just so we know a little more about yourself. So Lennert, can we start with you if you like?
No, absolutely. Yeah, describe myself in a couple of sentences. You have a little bit. No, I'm Lennert.
You can have three. You can have three.
I'm a Dutch guy. I work for a Dutch company called CitizenM Hotels, and I've been doing that basically in the last 14 years. So since CitizenM started, and I'm the Chief Commercial Officer, which means that a lot of the areas that we're going to talk about, I'm happy to read along and to hear also what the other guys have to say.
What was the first CitizenM launched?
2008, June 24, Schiphol.
June 24, 2008. Okay, so it's over 12 years now. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Okay, Klaus, couple of sentences for you as well.
All right, I'm Klaus. I'm the Chief Evangelist of Ideas. I think many people know Ideas. We're the leading provider of revenue management and pricing solutions for hotels. We have about 13,000 clients, hotels around the world that we're supporting, and that's growing very fast. And I'm super excited to be here. It's always fun to join you guys in a Friday morning or afternoon conversation. Thank you.
What is this for you? Is it afternoon or morning? Where are you now?
It's 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota. That's just about 7 hours drive northwest of Chicago.
The town of the mighty prince.
That's right.
Or Tough Cup, like the last name yet.
Vikings.
Vikings, it's true. Yeah, right.
Klaus, one curiosity, but where you live? Because every time I speak with you, you are in the middle of...
I'm somewhere else. I live in Minnesota. I've been here for about 10 years now. I lived in Singapore before, where I started with Ideas. Before that, I was with IHG for about 12 years, traveling around the world. Wherever IHG wanted me to go, I kind of went. So I've been Paris, New York, London, Singapore, Geneva, Vienna, all over the world.
So everybody should work with Ideas, guys, at this point. But were you originally from?
Absolutely, I agree.
But where are you from originally?
Oh, Austria, Villach in Carinthia on the Italian border.
Okay, so that's why you speak a little Italian.
That's right.
Okay, that's very good. Dominic, so a couple of sentences for you as well.
Yes, hello there, and thank you so much again for having me on the show. I'm Dominic, and I'm the regional sales manager for OTA Insight in the APAC region, so Asia Pacific and Oceania. And yeah, if you don't know OTA Insight, of course, today is some big news and exciting news in our recent partnership. But OTA Insight develops data intelligence and business intelligence solutions for hotels. I've been part of the company for over 3 years. And I am Canadian actually, but Klaus, my parents do live in Vienna, Austria, so I do have
Oh,
some
brilliant.
ties to
Oh, wow.
Austria as well. But yeah, it's been an exciting journey for our company, and I've been very, very fortunate to experience it over the last 3 years, and yeah, see the growth, the continued growth that we've been able to do in the industry.
That's very good. So, Dominic, you kind of anticipated the first news of the week. So maybe I'm not going. Can you share my screen for a second, Enzo, please?
Yes.
So I'm not even going to say anything about that one. I'm going to let you tell me a little more. I know that you don't have much time and you have to leave us in 25 minutes or so. So just tell us a little more about this new partnership between you guys and TripAdvisor.
Of course, yeah. So it's been a really exciting week at our company. You know, in this kind of uncertain year, I think we can say we've put out a lot of work into this partnership. So this week in particular, with the official launch, it's been particularly exciting. The purpose of the partnership is really, you know, it's kind of a win-win solution for both companies. And really, it's going to allow both companies to develop and innovate products faster, and especially in this kind of uncertain time, you know, make sure the products are relevant for right now, and also make sure that they're for the long-term recovery of hotels as well. And so, with the partnership in mind, it kind of partners both teams. So we have the team culture fit of TripAdvisor along with OTA Insight, which happens to be a great fit culturally. So from that perspective, it made a lot of sense. And also just from a data perspective, where, you know, TripAdvisor, it's going to really enhance their B2B strategy, and for us as OTA Insight, it's going to help us get, you know, upper funnel data, and really help us develop new solutions and enhance current solutions. And really, it's a huge win-win, I think, for both companies, and hopefully as well for the industry, with some exciting new tools and features that we can develop.
And the timing is kind of odd because you are actually developing this new partnership while Booking.com is letting the rate intelligence die, right? I think they will stop it in November the 30th or something like that. So do you think this will give us a competitive edge?
Certainly. I mean, obviously the timing is in a way fortunate, but at the same time, definitely do think it will give some competitive edge. Obviously, TripAdvisor is a massive name in the industry as well, so it really enhances our standpoint as a company. But like I said, with the amount of data that we can potentially use and to develop new products and solutions, it really is, I think, exciting, and definitely, you know, in this kind of uncertain year where consumer behavior is perhaps a little bit more uncertain than before, to really stay on top of that behavior and provide tools and data to make better decisions in this uncertain time is going to be hugely beneficial to the industry and to hotels.
So I'm showing the page right now, and Federica, you can share the link on LinkedIn if you want. And so what kind of data can hotels get out of this new partnership?
Yes, of course. So TripAdvisor they're calling it the Spotlight products, which again is it's related to the OTA Insight product suite as well that we have already. And at the moment, you know, they are going to offer kind of an enhanced rate shopping solution internally for many hotels that they work with. And also, we have quite an exciting a new product that we actually launched this year as well. We call it Market Insight internally, and it's called Market Spotlight with TripAdvisor. And that one, like I said, it's looking at upper funnel data sources and really looking at a future demand to help hotels anticipate future demand and make better decisions for their hotel, and really capture that demand that is a little uncertain at this time, and perhaps even with the pie being a little bit smaller, it will allow hotels to strategize, optimize strategies in order to capture that demand and stay ahead in this uncertain time.
I think this is one of the most interesting feature of Spotlight, because most trade intelligence, especially the free ones, they focus a lot on bottom line, the bottom part of the funnel, right? And now we can have more information about the top funnel as well. That is great, especially now that we need to change our strategies based on markets. You know, some markets can travel, some other markets cannot travel, and understanding and knowing in advance which market can do what is actually pure gold in the hands of revenue managers, in the hands of general managers, right? Do you agree with that?
Absolutely, and I think everyone knows week over week, day over day, things are changing. It's really hard to stay on top of it. So, as with all of our solutions, we really value the kind of live and real-time element. So with this particular solution, industry's first predictive market intelligence product, that's exactly what it's doing. So it's perpetually, calculating live demand and seeing the changes to really allow hotels to see, okay, if a consumer behavior is changing, to really act on that quicker in order to capture that demand and optimize strategies accordingly to really succeed in this time.
So if you're a hotel, what you want to do is go on tripadvisor.com/business/spotlight. You click on start a free trial, and you start a free trial of the product, and you can see Spotlight in action. Okay, Dominic, thank you so much for that. It's pretty interesting. It's
Question, Dominic.
can wait. Yeah.
Question, very simple. Did TripAdvisor made you already an offer?
How do you mean, Enzo?
Well, when this kind of partnership are starting, there is always something after coming. Like, hey, not a good news. TripAdvisor acquired Hotel Insight, something like that.
An offer you can't refuse.
Hey,
I need to make one comment to my former colleagues at OTA Insight. Absolutely brilliant, guys. I am so proud of you, and just keep on innovating, keep on recovering, and just make great things happen. Well done, Dominic and your team.
Congratulations, guys.
Can I say something from the hotel side on this? Because I'm not sure if a lot of, or if any of you know, but CitizenM was the first paying customer of OTA Insight a long time ago when I was approached by Gino and Adrian, and they said, we have a rate shopper. We have this idea for rate shopping. I said, well, we already have that. If you want to do something fun, then scrape the online travel agencies and show me the ranking, show me what's really happening, because they're not going to tell me. So it's really great to see that after all these years and OTA Insight becoming successful, that you're launching this and get even more hoteliers the tools that you guys have built for us already for must be close to a decade. So congratulations, really.
Wow, that's a scoop. We didn't know about that, Lennert.
Yes, yes. Gino did tell me to say hi to Lennert, our first customer at OTA Insight from 2013. So really appreciate the partnership, Lennert, and your ongoing championing of our company and of our products. Thanks again.
That's great. Okay, thank you so much, Dominic. Let's move to news number 2. There's a new article by Mirai. We love the guys, as you know. We really like their style of writing. And they published a guide called Getting the Most Out of Google Hotel Ads, the Top 15 Checklists. And you can go on the link. I'm going to share the link with Federica right now and check out the article. It's very, very interesting. If you are running a GHA campaign, or if you are thinking about running a GHA campaign, you got 15 great tips, and always great. I don't remember who wrote that. Pow. Okay, that's a good writer. And it's a very operational kind of article, and it's great to read if you are an agency or if you are an hotel running a GHA campaign. So I strongly suggest you guys to take a look and check it out, especially if you are running any campaign on Google, the meta search ads. And Sadly, another bad news for Expedia. We talk a little about the cuts and the layoffs. Now they're cutting 12%. After cutting 12%, I think it was back in February, if I remember correctly. And now they are announcing another round of laying offs. The numbers are not clear yet. There was no official statement from Expedia, but it looks like they will lose a little more. They will lose more people over the next few months or so. And Lennert, I have a question for you, especially because you do run a chain of hotels. Have you seen any difference between, if you can answer that, have you seen any difference between demand coming from Expedia and demand coming from Booking after the coronavirus started?
Well, it's difficult to say. I mean, small numbers, percentage change wise, things are really different. So I think it's really depending. I mean, in the summer we had a lot of traction in Europe, and then of course it's more Booking.com, because that's where a lot of Europeans, they use mainly Booking.com. But now we're still running almost full hotels on the weekends in our United States destinations, believe it or not, and that's more Expedia. So it's really depending on what market gets activated for what reason. And in the absence of people traveling, internationally or getting on an airplane, these numbers are really, really way off. So it's really difficult to say. What I can say is that the activity on advertising is pretty low, actually, from both sides. Booking.com shows up still on other marketplaces, Expedia a bit less. But at the same time, Expedia's engagement with hotels is a lot larger than with Booking.com at the moment. So, it's difficult to say how the industry will start up again, who will be in the lead. It might be Google.
I do agree.
Have you seen any, Lennart? Have you seen any switch between direct and indirect? Just in general. I mean, that's the big question right now. Are hotels going to be successfully driving more demand to the direct channels than indirect channels?
It's too early to say, Klaus. I think at the moment the type of customers that we've seen is really staycations. It's not really our normal customers. I mean, we have 21 hotels across multiple international cities. We're heavily relying on long haul business and leisure travel, European city travel. So whatever we see at the moment, we kind of put 2020 in the garbage can when it comes to our data warehouse, because we don't want to derive any conclusions from it. As long as we don't see our normal repeat customer coming back, the data is kind of useless. But obvious, there's a lot of people just looking for a room in Amsterdam when they come to Amsterdam. So that's typical Google OTA territory, and it's not the usual London city trip that happens every week.
I think Enzo is checking out his next trip right now. I can see that.
I think so.
Yeah, what I was talking with these guys was commenting actually.
And this leads me to the fourth news of the week. And probably you heard about that, but according to Expedia CEO, the statement is that the day there is a vaccine announced will be our highest booking day in history. Now, Klaus, do you believe that? Do you think that a vaccine is all we need to get the reservation going again?
Very good question. Thanks, Simone. And it's, I would say it depends, right? When you look at the statistics of recovery, and you're looking what's happening in the different regions. And I was doing some research on China yesterday, looking at some of the reporting that's coming out of that. You can see the V-shaped recovery in China over the last few months. Business is back to 70-80% of last year, and in some instances even more than last year. So they have recovered very, very quickly. And obviously they don't have a vaccine. Well, they do have a vaccine, but who knows if that works. But there is confidence in travel. And if you're taking the China example to the rest of the world, you can assume that there is definitely pent-up demand. And as soon as people feel safe and they feel it doesn't jeopardize their health over the longer term, I think one of the first things that people spend on, or I know that one of the first things people spend money on, is travel. So I do believe there's a huge amount of pent-up demand. I can see it within my network, my friends and my family. I think there's going to be a lot of people booking. It just depends on, different types of people have different types of security concerns and safety concerns. So it's not going to be everyone at the same time. Different types of people will have different needs and wants to that. So I think I'm definitely hopeful, but it's not going to happen tomorrow. It'll happen over the next 2 or 3 years.
And last week we showed a little section of one documentary called The Wuhan Paradox. I don't know if you ever heard of that. It's a 25-minute documentary. It's pretty interesting, and it actually shows how life in Wuhan just completely came back to normal, right? And I'm kind of curious to know, and I know you study some data from China. What do you think is their secret of success? Is the fact that they have a lot of domestic travelers and they can kind of like sustain the industry like only with domestic travelers? Do you think that is the secret sauce?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So when you look at the numbers by type of traveler, domestic short haul travel has rebounded the quickest. International travel still not possible. So that's going to take a couple of years to recover, or at least until the other countries are opening the borders. So it's the strong domestic market. There's obviously not much of a drive-to market, but it's really the short-haul trains. They have a fantastic train network. They have a fantastic flight network. And people very quickly went out and saw their friends and family and did some, went to Sanya and went to some of the beach and leisure destinations. So similar to the US, right? A very strong domestically driven segmented market. And the industry and the government, I must say, have done a really good job of containing it and making sure everyone gets tested. 10 million people tested 2 weeks ago in one city within a few days. So they're making sure that everyone feels safe and is able to travel without having any concerns for the health.
That makes sense. Okay, let's go to news number 5. Google launched, this is a more geeky news, but Google launched version 4 of Google Analytics. If you are a hotelier, you will probably receive an email from Google asking you to upgrade to the 4th version of Google Analytics. So far, I haven't seen any big changes for hotel websites. It does, on the other end, give you a lot more insights if you are running an app. So if your hotel has an app, or if your company has an application, maybe you want to upgrade to Google Analytics version number 4. And this is more interesting. Probably, Dominic, I don't know if you got more time for us, or maybe I can ask you something else. But I don't know if you heard about this partnership between Sabre and Google. They signed this partnership in January, and now they're developing an AI platform called Sabre Travel AI. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to drive personalization in travel. And it does. I would like to ask this question to you because it's kind of similar to what you guys are doing with TripAdvisor, right? It looks like at the end of the day, we are trying to understand where the top funnel of this reservation is, and how we can intercept this demand in some way. So I don't know if you heard about it, if you got any comments on that.
I haven't heard too much about it. I did read an article about this partnership, but I think it is along the same lines of thinking, right? And really acting early to make those decisions, using actual data to make those decisions. So I think, in a very similar way to our partnership, it is again the very upper funnel data that this partnership is leveraging.
It's always been a mystery to us. It's crazy how for marketers, the top funnel is always a mystery. It looks like something almost legendary. We know a lot about the bottom funnel, but when you look at the top funnel, it's kind of foggy, no?
Yeah, what's happening? I mean, sorry, Dominic, go ahead. I'll say something after.
Oh no, I was going to say that's exactly it, and I think a big part of the name of the game is to turn lookers into bookers, and to capture those lookers, sooner than anyone else before they do become bookers. So, yeah, absolutely, and I think also in the industry, there's always been a big KPI is always occupancy and how busy hotels are. But I think this is potentially a new and innovative way of thinking to really capture demand for hotels as well.
Klaus.
Yeah, I think, Simone, what's happening is, and you have to see all these things in context, right? You have Google Analytics 4, which uses predictive modeling and machine learning and AI. You have this partnership between Google and Sabre, which is looking at the, understanding the conversion of demand, or predicting the conversion of demand, and how to attract more customers in a more with a more atomized inventory, be that for planes or trains or hotels. And you see what's happening in just the general behavior of the customer as well, right? So people are looking for much more personalized and specific experiences in hotels, and CitizenM has been a leader in that. And from a marketer perspective, you want to understand, especially in these times, your micro segments, right? Who is that person that you want to attract? How can you convert them? And it's no longer just a leisure versus business traveler. It's now going down to very, very specific micro segments and trying to attract them and trying to convert them. And putting all these predictive models around that to be able to do that. So it's a very exciting time, because you have this convergence of revenue management and distribution and marketing powered by AI and machine learning, all happening over the next couple of years.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. Lennert, let me ask you something. How are you guys understanding what is happening at the top funnel level? Do you use any like BI system or rate intelligence platforms, RMSs, advanced tracking in analytics?
Yeah, we are, and I think we're actually storing a lot of data, because I think one of the problems that hoteliers have, and that's why it's great for these partnerships between OTA Insight and TripAdvisor, Sabre using Google. I still have questions. Are they using out of the box like Google AI machine learning? Because I can buy that myself and plug it into my own database, but there's not a lot of hotels that have their own data warehouse. So yeah, we are extracting the most interesting data, from forecasting data to all the transactional data, STR data, OTA Insight data. We plug it in our own data warehouse, and for us the next step as well is machine learning on top of that. Currently, it provides for a lot of interesting correlations between data that even the human mind can still understand. But yeah, that's, if you look at upper funnel data, we're always looking for that. I'm always interested. Why are people clicking my hotel on Booking.com or Expedia? And to be honest, I would say that the big marketplaces like Google and Facebook, they do a much better job. The whole advertising network, they give you much more data than what you get from Booking.com and Expedia, because they want to hold it as close as possible. And yeah, they're not going to tell you that most of the data came in from branded keywords.
Yeah, one example, I had a conversation with a chief commercial officer yesterday for my podcast that we're going to release next week. And he was talking about understanding the sensitivity of bar closures or restaurant closures by state. He said he knows that the bar closing in Florida has a much bigger impact on travel demand than a bar closing in New Hampshire for COVID reasons. So the amount of data you're getting now, and what you can do with that data, as long as it's relevant and you have the right ROI, is quite stunning.
Okay, that's interesting. That is actually very interesting, and I'm seeing more and more of this partnership. And Lennert, let me ask you something. Are you guys going to implement some level of machine learning yourself, like proprietary technology, or are you thinking to go with third parties?
Well, I don't want to speak for our head of BI, but I would say that we're not going to develop these things ourselves, and that we already much helped for 99% by plugging in. I mean, if you look at the standard machine learning that sits in Power BI, which is powered by Microsoft, I can say this month versus that month, show me what's the difference, and it's going to show me a lot of open doors, right? If there's more weekends in the month, so your weekend performance is better because there's more weekend days, but it also gives you that there's more people with 2 people in the room, and I don't need to start looking at reports. It's just Microsoft giving me that data simply in the Power BI dashboards that we develop ourselves. So yeah, there's so much things that you can plug onto the data that you have that I don't think we're going to get anywhere soon to making any of these things ourselves. Yeah,
it makes total sense. Okay, let's go to number 7. WIP published a very interesting guide on the rise of GHA in the meta search space. So we got 2 companies writing articles on GHA. we talk a lot about how GHA is taking good part of the market. This is been published by Skift, if I remember correctly. Yes, going to share the link with you guys. You can download the guide. Basically, what they did, they went over all their main clients and they broke down some patterns, so you can find interesting data and interesting insights on how GHA is performing versus other kind of advertisement platform. And Lennert, this is another question for you. Are you running? I'm pretty sure you are. Are you running any GHA campaign for CitizenM?
Well, I'm not sure if you do a search at the moment, if you will see one, because it's a little bit of an on and off with all the lockdowns. But yeah, for sure, we're always participating. We're always trying to find profitable money that we can spend on finding new customers. And I think Google, I can confirm what is written in both the articles. It's more and more important to be on Google and to have these things like your logo there, your official site. It matters to customers. It's difficult sometimes to get your prices in order with all the different distribution systems that are in between and the undercutting, things that happen from, well, in this case, hotels.com. I guess they're not adhering to European regulations to show tax included. But it's still tricky business. Meta search to get it right, especially if you're smaller company using generic tools. But it's becoming more and more important for us.
I can see you on the first slot. Here it is. If you can share my screen, Enzo. Here it is. I can see you here with your logo and official site. So I think you're doing it right. And let me ask you something. And this is a question for all of you guys, because there's always this debate when it comes to meta search ads. Do you guys think that meta search ads is actually bringing incremental revenue, or is it just moving revenue from other sources?
Incremental to what?
Exactly. Like, let me rephrase it. Are meta search platform bringing you reservation that you would not have had without meta search advertisement, or are these reservations that you would have had anyway, but through a different channel like Booking.com or Expedia? So the question is this revenue, it's new customer, and you're getting these new customers because of GHA, because of Trivago, because of TripAdvisor, or are these your customers and the only thing you're doing is bringing them to a channel with lower cost per acquisition? So let me know if it does make sense now.
It's a very complicated question. I think it's very difficult.
I'm a complicated guy. That is why I ask complicated question.
No, I think you can look at this in so many ways. I mean, the hotel industry, I think at large, can prove that what's the added value of OTAs and meta search and search in general. I think there was a study done by Hotstats that between 2001 and 2013, revenue increased in the UK by 37%, but the cost of distribution by 900%.
Wow.
And it kind of shows like, all the OTAs are making things simpler. And meta search.
Who published the study? Sorry, maybe Federica can find it for us.
What's that?
It's pretty old, actually. It must have been updated, but I've been using it quite a bit to say, to make the case is that the OTAs are making it more transparent, making it more simple, but it's not necessarily adding any value to the hotels. It's a necessary evil you have to deal with. It's making things more simple for customers. It also means that you probably earn less. Just like it was very complicated to order a taxi and expensive in the past, and now it's very cheap and very efficient. But who is paying for that? The taxi drivers, because they're making less money than they used to. And to that extent, we are taxi drivers. And it's depending on the amount of money they spend. If Trivago does a huge campaign on Dutch television, there will be people that go directly to Trivago. But it's not that the people start traveling because of meta search or because of Google. No, the people have an intent. Right? I'm going to travel, and they will find a way to find their hotel. So to that extent, I think the simple answer to your question, it is probably driving an additional demand because it's so simple to go to London rather than calling a travel agency. Can I speak with the hotel? Can you confirm my reservation? But it's not that if you add up all the bookings made on all the meta search and OTAs, that is a whole new industry arising. It's something additional, but never 100%.
Makes sense. Klaus, do you agree with that?
I do agree, and I was going to ask Lennert the question. There's a big conversation going on. Is this the opportunity to wean yourself off the OTAs? Right, we've heard some rumblings earlier this year in Italy, where Giancarlo down in Rome, he talked about establishing an anti-OTA company or like an Italian kind of hotelier-driven OTA. We've seen some legislation or noise coming out of France, where France said they're going to build their own OTA. So is this the time now for the hotel industry to move more aggressively, or is this not the time? And will we continue to rely on the OTAs to drive demand? Which I'm neutral in that. I'm wondering.
I got a strong opinion on that. I think
I'm sure you do.
I'm zipping my mouth.
I'm not zipping my mouth. I think it's it would be the time, but it's not going to happen. Because
it's not going to happen. Not going to happen.
I don't believe it. If there's any change, I think it's Google that might see the opportunity to really jump into this game.
I totally agree with you. That is exactly. I published a post a few weeks ago, and that was exactly what you are saying, Klaus. And I think it was in response of something that Giancarlo wrote. And I said, there's no way that a company, a new OTA owned by the state, nonetheless, will be able to get where Google can get. So I think I am zipping my mouth. Sorry, because it's very hot topic to my mind. But I think I totally agree with you, Lennert, that Google will take that slice of the cake.
Well, and even if it's not Google, even if it's, let's say that Google doesn't do it, what is going to happen if there's a little demand? Can you imagine? I mean, I have 21 hotels to care for, and it's already happening. You can see Booking.com coming with new propositions for a new preferred program, extra commission, extra discount. If you don't participate, you don't get the money. And the owners, they really want money, right? So I sympathize. I think there's a big sympathy towards doing business direct with consumers. So if you ever want to capitalize on that, now is the time, because everybody wants to buy from the local butcher, from the local restaurant. Everybody understands hotels are suffering. In Holland, there was a big stampede about Booking.com receiving government money for support, and that got big into the news. People don't understand it. So there's a sympathy towards Booking Direct. But the moment that Booking.com drives an Expedia or Meta search demand into your city, you want to get that. We're hungry buffaloes, and we need to drink, and the pool of water is starting to fill up, and we're all going to, try to get to the water first. So it will be lots of commission, low pricing. It will be a very red ocean.
Do you agree with that, Klaus?
Yeah, I agree, and I absolutely agree with Google too, right? And Google is taking more and more a more proactive role, right? And I mean, personally, if I go and look for any travel anywhere, my first stop now is Google for the flights. Setting the flight alert and looking at the prices, and they do it beautifully from a UI and UX perspective. And once I've made my decision where I want to go and find a good price, then I usually book direct, obviously, because I love the industry and I want to support them. But Google is my first stop that I go to check out on prices and destinations.
Can I be a little unpolitically correct here? Do you guys think really that Booking Direct is always supporting the industry? Because I've seen over the last few years with, not now, because now CPC is probably as low as it has ever been in years. But for a lot of hotels, Booking Direct, with all the efforts they need to put in place, and that means, advertisement in search, advertisement in Meta, advertisement in display, in remarketing, etc., social media ads, a performing booking engine. And I found clients of mine with a cost per acquisition, a direct cost per acquisition of 35%, way higher than the average OTA. So do you think, and this has nothing to do with Google, but it's just an interesting question to me, do you guys think that we are relying too much on direct revenue, and sometimes, and I'm not talking about you, Lennert. Of course, you run a very professional business, but I'm talking about all the independent hotels out there that they don't have full control of what is going on with their prices. And for some of these hotels, the cost per acquisition can be even higher than the average commission of an OTA. What do you guys think about that?
I agree.
Oh, wow. Okay. I thought I was saying something just completely out of the blue.
No, I think you need to have the right distribution channel for the right type of demand and the right opportunity, right? So if your opportunity is to drive demand for certain low demand periods, and you know that your OTAs will help you get some extra demand in or drive some additional business, of course you're going to use the distribution channel that help you can achieve that, right? But if you have sufficient demand that you can drive direct, then you should be able to focus on that and have it's all about balance, right? And where do you balance, and where do you put your efforts in to get the best return on investment? So it's not a black and white situation. It's more of a, hey, if I need demand here, I'll drive it here, and if I need demand here, I'll drive it there.
Different approach for different folks.
Dominic, do you agree with that?
I do. I was just going to add a comment. I think it's incredibly important to then optimize the promotional spend or marketing spend effectively, right? Not to bring it back to upper funnel data, but if you know that a lot of the searches that are being done for your destination are from New York, and New Yorkers are looking to stay 7 nights or 5 nights, then that can help optimize how you advertise, and whether that comes into the OTA or your own website. But I think it's incredibly important to do that, and the hotels and hoteliers that can do that before others, will come out on top.
Okay, let me ask you, and then we move to the next one. What do you think? This is a hard question, guys. I warn you. What do you think is a healthy price to pay for a direct booking? And I'm putting into this everything from the cost of a booking engine, to the discount you're giving of meta search, to the investment you're doing on advertisement. So let's say we can agree that the average commission for an OTA is somewhere between 15 and 20%, right? What is, in your eyes, the LT spot, the soft spot of the cost per acquisition of a direct booking? How much a direct booking should cost to still be profitable? Lennert.
What's profit? I've talked to hotels that can run at 14% occupancy and still be profitable, right? So that whole equation of what's profitable and what's not has changed too. But I'll let Lennert answer.
Well, I'm not going to give you the answer you like. Yeah, if you're in the business of one-time opportunities, then I would say don't spend more than what you would transact through the OTAs or around that. But you should be willing to at least go to that level. But if you're able to measure, customer lifetime value, then why do we always want to be profitable on the first date, right? So let's say there's this business traveler coming through Booking.com to my hotel in New York for 1 night. And he really likes CitizenM. He's going to come to me every month, but then book direct. I would have given him the first night for free just to try it out. But that's kind of data you don't have at the moment that it gets to you. So that's the difficult part. And I think that is where you need to make some investments and really try to understand that a little bit better. What type of business do you get through where? And then what is a website visitor worth? A brand impression? That is the second question then.
You got a lot of returning guests, Lennert?
Normally, yeah.
Okay. Let's say that, let's wipe out 2020, okay? Let's just pretend that 2020 never happened. Let's say that it's 2019 and we will go straight to 2023, right? So you got a lot of returning guests?
Yeah,
absolutely. Like this.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Sorry, this took a little more than expected, but I'm always interested in getting and it's not every day that I got hoteliers on the show. So, number 8.
Simone, let's have a few second break and we come back on the news, okay?
Sure.
Simone.
My name is Erin, and she talks.
$10 was
Dominic, I think you need to go.
I do. I just want to thank everyone for their time, and thanks so much for having me on the call. And hopefully
great.
speak to you again soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Ciao, Dominic.
Congratulations again. Ciao, guys.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Dominic.
So let's go to number 8, and this is more interesting for me living in France and for everybody living in France or dealing a lot with France. Unfortunately, we're entering a new lockdown, and this is nearly as strict as the one in March. We cannot leave our apartments without a good reason why, and there's very little we can do. So unfortunately, things are not looking very bright over here. I've read, Federica, you can confirm me this, that probably Italy is going to get to very similar measure pretty soon.
Yeah, we are very close to it since at the moment we have no really restrictions, but it's highly recommended not to go out from our places if there is not an emergency or for work or anything else. And since the cases are increasing, this is what everybody's expecting that it will happen. Yeah.
Okay, let's go quickly to number 9. So this is more self-celebratory. Sorry, guys, but I did publish an article that I'm particularly proud of. It's all about the future of hotel technology. It's the first one of a series of articles that I'm writing for GX. If you want to go and check it out, I talk a lot about the use of AI, the use of robotics, the use of machine learning in hotels, and the use of new technology. So I'm not going to bother you with that, but if you want to know more, Federica is going to share the link here. And let's move to number 10. And number 10 is even the beginning of my interview with Lennert. So Lennert, I was reading about this new, and I found it very smart, this new subscription model, right? And so basically, you are trying to get the work hospitality kind of customers, and it's I think it's a very interesting approach. It's something that I'm using a lot with my clients, with the due differences, of course. So can you tell me more about how does it work? Like if I want to get to CitizenM and work in CitizenM for a while, how does it work? Should I have like a monthly fee or a weekly fee?
Yeah, this is what is on the screen is a monthly corporate subscription, as we call it. It's the first of subscriptions as we're going to launch them. We believe that it's something that we want to test. Throughout this crisis, coming out of the crisis, is there a way that we can get a different revenue model onto a perishable product? But what this is basically is, look at yourself. You're based in Paris, and think that you can travel to London and to New York again. And we have hotels in destinations that are visited by a certain type of traveler. For those people, the working from home or the remote work is going to stay for a lot of people. So you are going to be, it doesn't matter if you work for Facebook or if you work for a small company, you're going to be spending more time in your own city. But I'm not sure about you guys, but working really from home every day, the moment that you can start socializing again, meeting with clients, you need a space for that. So we wanted to combine the fact that you need sometimes this second place outside of the office with nights. And so we do want to have people interested that are also consuming our hotel rooms. So for a fixed monthly price, you can basically get 3 nights with no blackout dates at all CitizenMs worldwide. So you secure your pricing, and you can walk into any CitizenM and work from our living rooms, which is normally at a fee, right? If you're a hotel guest, you can just come in and work. But if you're coming in from the street, there's a living room working pass, as we call it, for €15, dollars, or pounds a day.
I think I never paid a fee at CitizenM, to be honest.
Because we know you.
You're a freeloader, a freeloader. Are you one of those influencers that says, give me a free room and I'll promote you on the internet?
Not at all. I'm the shyest guys on earth. I pay for everything, but nobody ever asks me anything. I just go there. I take lunch and a couple of drinks, but I don't remember ever being asked to pay to stay for the day. I could be wrong.
Yeah, maybe because you're starting with lunch or with drinks. It's something we launched last year, and it's something that we realized. We opened our Shoreditch hotel in 2016, I believe, in London. And one of our main customers sits next door. It's a big HQ, and we literally have sometimes 100 people staying at the same time. And the biggest complaint we got that our lobby was always full, our living rooms were full. It's like, well, what do you mean? Hold on, you cannot work from our space anymore? So no, it's full. And then, we got some pictures, even on a Saturday, it was full of people from the street just coming in with 6 people working from the space, ordering 1 water for 6 people. And we were like, wow, this is not, if you look at our mission, it's to provide for modern generational travelers affordable luxury, not, to have people be seated on Vitra furniture, just from the street. And so who are we doing this for? And let's create something for them. So we, I would say defensively started charging £15 a day. And that got rid of all the people. They went to the Ace Hotel in Shoreditch and back to the Hoxton. And, let them sit there, their problem. We wanted to be available again for people like yourself that are coming back a lot, but also the people that travel to our destinations. And the subscription is a more deliberate relationship with that target audience.
Okay, that's a very interesting initiative. And so are you, because there's been a lot of talking about digital nomadism lately, are you guys planning to get this kind of clients as well? People that are traveling from different countries from week to week, or they don't really have an office. Is it something that it was in your mind when you started this subscription model?
No, not this one. This one is really for people that travel like 3 nights a month, and they want to secure their hotel pricing, and they want to have a place where they can meet. And there's some meeting rooms included as well. Breakfast is included, the free drinks. So it's really everything through the app. It's really frictionless. And so it's all about it. But at the same time, we also launched what we call Global Passport, which is for €1,500, pounds a month, all you can stay. And so that means on 7 nights minimum stays, you can live 1 week in Amsterdam, then let us know through the chat. We have this special sort order for chat, and you'll be at the top. Say, hey guys, next week I'll be going to London, and then the week after I'll be in Paris, and then I'm going to stay a month in Geneva. And that is for $1,500 a month that we're doing that. And we do have quite a few people, over 30 people that already signed up in the month of October. And they became basically residents of CitizenM globally.
Okay. And tell me something about this contactless experience that you guys launched after coronavirus. So it's something that you started even before the pandemic, right? Because I saw that basically I can set check-in in one of your hotels. So there's a lot of touchless technology. There was a lot of touchless technology even before the pandemic. So what did change with coronavirus, if anything?
Well, we fast-tracked this app. And a lot of people already commented in the last decade, why don't you have an app? Because, I think the experience that we had, we could not really improve it with an app. And so if you think about this, if you have a Hilton or a Marriott or whoever competitor hotel app, what can you do? Like, you can check in, and then in some hotels you can open the door or make a reservation. But if you think about the door opening, I also have a car where you can open the door with the app. But a car key is much handier than going in the app and click open door. Are you really sure you want to open the door? Yes. So we never had an app. But then we found a few use cases where we thought it's actually interesting to have an app. And one of them was the Apple NFC, product that was becoming more popular. If we could store a key in the Apple NFC product where you just take your phone and you don't even need to open the app, and you touch it to the door without doing anything, that for us was a better experience. So when we saw that, we and the coronavirus happening about contactless, not touching our iPad anymore, not touching our kiosk anymore, not talking to people, we fast-tracked it. So we have a complete app now in Android and iOS, whereby you can literally do everything from the reservation to the check-in to the opening of the door. You know, that iPad that controls the whole room sits on your own iPhone now. But there's also cool new features coming, like housekeeping options, food and beverage ordering through the app, your breakfast management. These are all things that we're loading onto the app.
Did you get rid of the tablets, or they are still in the rooms?
Well, are you going to force an app for all your customers?
Yeah.
I was actually, you know, this is one time we could have done it, but we didn't do that. So we still have the iPad for people that don't know about the app yet. And yeah, if there's one thing that I'm going to advocate for is with this old-fashioned GDS system, that we get a little bit more than just first name, last name. Because yeah, how can you get these people to download the app? You cannot communicate with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is true. That is true. And how many do you think, if you can answer that, how many of your clients and guests are actually downloading the app in percentage?
It's a rising number. It's also we're also making it rise organically because that's we have a new CIO since a year, and he came from a big Dutch beer brewer, and he didn't believe in putting 100% of our traffic on an app that has not been proven yet. So we're going through the test phases at the moment. And we went from a proof of concept to an MVP, and you know, we are maturing the app and also the volumes. But we have thousands of downloads and a double-digit percentage of people already using it.
How many hotels do you have now?
Sorry?
How many hotels do you have now?
We have 21 hotels open, and there's another 20 or so under development or construction.
Do you have anything in Asia?
Yeah, we have a hotel in Taipei and one in Kuala Lumpur.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Okay, that was very, very. You know, I'm a big fan, so I'm trying not to be a fanboy and ask you all the question I would like to ask you, but I really love CitizenM. I love the design. I love the experience, and I think it's probably the best check-in experience I ever had in my life. And
I'll try the app.
I will try the app next time. I will totally try the app. Yes, of course. And so I will let you know more about that. And so what is the best way to get in touch with you? CitizenM.com is the website, or they can find you on LinkedIn?
They can find me on LinkedIn if they want to get in touch with me. And if you want to learn more about CitizenM, of course, and this full contactless experience, CitizenM.com is probably the best.
Okay, that's very good. Lennert, thank you so much for that. It's really, really appreciated. And again, a big, big fan. And I'm a big, big fan of ideas as well. So
thank you.
Let me ask you some question about that. So first of all, what do you do at Ideas?
Yeah. So first of all, I'm also a big fan of CitizenM. So Lennert, I know I've known the brand for a long time. Love what the guys are doing. Probably one of the most innovative teams in the industry. And a scoop for you guys: about 2007, I asked the co-founder at that time of CitizenM if I could start the brand in Asia Pacific, but I was quite naive at that time. I didn't have the money or even the infrastructure, but I was so excited about the brand. Said, can I just be the franchisee in Asia? But that was a while ago. But so what do I do at Ideas? I am the chief evangelist, and that is kind of two things. One, I have conversations like this with the industry around the world, and understand kind of what is going on in the world of consumer behavior, hotel industry, hospitality. And then I bring that information both back to the industry in conversations like this, and then I also bring it back into Ideas to help drive our strategy and drive our development roadmap. So it's kind of a two-way conversation between the industry and Ideas and revenue management and pricing.
You're a sponge, actually.
I'm a sponge. I take in information and I give it back out. So it's the sponge keeps everything, but I also distribute it back.
Okay.
Let me tell you one thing. I've been listening all day, so I don't want to interrupt. But let me tell you something. When it comes to revenue discussion, I don't know why. I think you did a great job, Klaus. It popped up in my mind your face. It's really you have been able to associate this word, this culture, to yourself, basically. So congrats for what you do, and and the things you're sharing on your podcast, on live streaming today, when you attend events and speaking events, conferences. So really, you have been able to associate your name, your face to revenue immediately. That's
yeah. Thank you, Enzo. And I must say, a big kudos to Ideas, right, to make the decision a few years ago to invest in a role like this and invest in somebody who can just spend the time understanding the industry and talking to the industry. And for me, it's not about me. It's about educating the industry about the opportunities and the commercial leadership and revenue leadership, distribution, sales and marketing. So I'm very passionate about revenue management. I've done it for 20 plus years now. And I just love kind of spreading the good news of pricing and revenue management to whoever wants to listen.
Yeah, I think this is the secret sauce, from Ideas, because looking at all the RMS companies, they're all good. I don't want to say which is the one I prefer or is the better one, but looking
they're all good. They're all good.
They're all good. Somehow there are a lot of products, some products more related to small, companies, some other for enterprises. But let me tell you, especially when you have structured this Evangelist concept, and we have a common friend, the Italian, what's his name? I forget his name. Oh, the guy from Italy working with you.
Damiano.
Yeah.
So I think that way you are approaching, the way you are communicating to the market is completely different. So you really you stay on top of of the industry and this concept of distributing know-how, and the way you do that, it's a really stand out from the competition, to be honest.
Thank you, Enzo. Thank you.
Cool guys, doing great.
There's a whole team behind me, so you just see my face, but there's lots of people.
Yeah, of course,
not just me.
Everyone.
So Klaus, let's say we all have been living under a rock for the last 20 years. Can you tell us a little more about Ideas?
Well, where have you been, Simone?
Under a rock.
Well, Ideas, I don't want to talk too much about the last 20 years, but what we're really excited about is that we're continuing to push innovation. I think that's the most important thing, right? Forget about where we were 20 years ago. I think what's happening right now is we see this increased reliance on data, this increased reliance on revenue science, as we call it, because people are confused and it's more and more unpredictable, the whole environment we're living in. So you need as much data as you can, and OTA Insight is one of our best partners, and they've been fantastic for the last few years, together with many others. And you need to be able to digest that data and then come out with the right decisions. So we're very focused on providing the hotels around the world with the best possible pricing decisions that our revenue science can come up with, and I guess that's what we've been focusing on for the last 30 years. In making sure that whatever price the hotel is selling is the optimal price in whatever circumstance.
And let me ask you something. I was having this conversation I'm not a revenue manager, I'm a marketing guy, but I was having this conversation with a revenue manager the other day. And my point was that in a year like 2020, where you have scarcity of data, you probably have to rely more on external data rather than internal data, like historical data or, typical forecast. Would you agree with that? That you have to look more in 2020 to understand the big trends, at least, that you have to look at external data rather than your historical information?
Yeah, I agree to an extent. Absolutely. You can't look at 2019 data as your baseline. You have to come up with a new baseline for 2020, and we've done that kind of very quickly. And you need to understand, obviously, what's happening with government regulations and what's happening with restrictions and travel bans and all that. So there is definitely a point to look at the external factors and the internal factors. But the big question this year has been, is revenue management even relevant when you only run at 20-30% occupancy? And I say I would have agreed probably 10 years ago. I would have not. I've used to be a revenue manager, both at the corporate level and the hotel level. I would have said revenue management is definitely not relevant in these times. But the application of revenue management is completely different now, because now it's about pricing your rooms dynamically by room type, by segment, by channel, factor in cost of channel, factor in OTA insight data, travel click data, and all that. So the application of revenue management is the same if it's 20% or 30% or 60%, because you still want to have the perfect price and the optimal price out there. And when you're running at 20%, making that 1 or 2% extra, I would argue, is more valuable than if you're at 70 or 80%, because that will determine your profitability at the end of the month, right? Which means, can you pay back your mortgage at the end of the month, or can you do your debt service and all that, right? So even in times like this, with modern revenue management technology, pricing is incredibly important.
Let me ask you something, and again, I'm asking you something I'm politically correct, but when I started in '99, and you know, at the time in Italy, so revenue management was like an esoteric concept to a certain extent. But I do remember that what most revenue managers were doing was aggregating data. Like 90% of the time spent doing revenue management was actually aggregating data, and probably 10% was taking decision. And this changed dramatically, especially because of guys like you over the last 20 years. So do you think that, I think like back in the days, back in the 90s, a revenue manager was somebody that was good with Excel. And today we have a complete different idea of what a revenue manager should be and should do. Do you agree with the statement?
Yeah, I agree. When I was working in Paris at the Intercontinental, and I was running the Grand Hotel and the Intercontinental at Tuileries, which is now a Westin, you know, I built my own revenue management software in Excel. That was before ideas kind of came along and helped me make it more efficient. I do agree, right? We were all great Excel experts and writing code and building these beautiful spreadsheets. Now you don't need to do that anymore, right? It's just like with marketing. You have Google, and you have the marketing tools, and everything is automated. You can do your bidding and everything automatically. It's like a trader, right? And it's very similar in revenue management. You should focus on, especially now, on your commercial levers and your commercial pipes and taps that you can open and that you can get flowing, rather than spending your time on spreadsheets and Excel. If you do that, then you're not providing the right value. That's not the job of a revenue manager. And revenue management is changing too. Revenue management, in our view, is becoming, you know, it's really the commercial leaders like Lennert that need the right information. They need to have the right tools to make these commercial decisions in its entirety, rather than just a pricing decision and a siloed marketing decision and a siloed distribution decision. All of this is coming together. So the tools of the future will bring all that together for commercial leaders like Lennert, to give them the right information and tools to make the right decisions across all of the commercial areas.
Klaus, I have my point here, right? So I always do this funny sentence. So life is too short to sit in front of an Excel, no? Why do you think still a lot of revenue managers, especially coming from independent hotels, I'm not going to big groups and so on, why they are still, have this, culture of keep using the Excel and scary to move to automation and RMS like ideas?
There's a couple things. I think the comfort zone, right? The revenue manager typically love to work with data, and they love digging into the data, and they love understanding every single detail. There is a certain power that comes with that. And when you have a revenue management system, you could believe that you're losing the power. But what people need to understand is a better tool gives you more power, right? If you're using a GPS on your phone, like a Waze or Google Maps or something, and you use that to determine the best way to go from Rome to Venice, that gives you the power to focus on the driving rather than looking at the map, right? So you're using the technology and you're using the sophistication of the tools you have to get you to the destination more efficiently and faster than if you're looking at a map and you have to stop every half hour to look where you are. So it's not about losing power, it's about using the right tools to get you to the destination faster than you would be without them.
Okay, I agree with you totally, but I keep saying, sitting in front of Excel, life is too short. Come on.
Of course.
So Klaus, what is the best way to get in touch with you? Is ideas.com, I imagine, and your LinkedIn profile?
Yeah, I have a very active LinkedIn profile. I run a podcast on ideas.com.
Yeah, tell me more about that.
Yeah, I have a podcast every week. Every Thursday morning, we launch a new episode. Lennert has been a guest a couple of weeks back talking about subscriptions. It's on ideas.com/podcasts. And I talk to industry leaders around the world, CEOs, commercial leaders, revenue managers at properties. I just yesterday I released one with a group of hotel investment and finance experts in Australia. We talked about the Australian hotel landscape. A very, very expert panel there. So every Thursday we release a podcast. It's about 20, 25 minutes. Always some good conversations. So check it out. And I'm on LinkedIn, and I can be reached by email as well.
That's very good. Lennert, Klaus, thank you so much for taking the time. This was a very good episode. Again, I'm a big fan of CitizenM, a big fan of ideas. So I was like, I tried not to interrupt too much your line of thoughts. I hope I was not too much of a fanboy here. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mark and Federica, for taking the time to take a look and make sure everything was working correctly. And, you know, we're getting old, so it's not always easy. I start having a lot of gray hairs on top of that. It's kind of scary to me. Super scary. Super scary.
Andrew is laughing when you said that.
We don't know the color. We don't know the color of the hair of Enzo, so we have no idea. It could be all right.
Have to talk about gray hair. Look at me.
The beards are showing. The beards are showing now. Look at us, all four of us here.
Getting old, my friends. We're getting so old. Enzo, so I think it's back to you.
Yeah, no, fine. I was, enjoying the day. Honestly, the rhythm was fast, really good. And, with the great guests, it's always nice to have those kind of conversation. Quick round. So how is going to be your weekend, Lennert? What are you going to do this weekend?
Well, I'm not sure. I think the Prime Minister is having a press moment again here in the Netherlands. So I guess the government will decide what I'm going to do. But I hope I'm still allowed to have some friends over, because that's what is going to happen. And tomorrow morning, actually, we'll be discussing subscription in the shoe business with a friend of mine that is selling luxury shoes, which is a tough market at the moment. But I'm trying to get him into the subscription business as well.
Okay.
Cool. What about you, Klaus?
Well, we have a little bit of a warm spell here. It was about -10 or -11 Celsius over the last week or so. So it's going to be about 15, 16 degrees. So I'm going to be outside, probably a little bit biking, maybe hiking around the lakes here, and just enjoying the outdoors before the winter comes.
Fantastic. Federica, what about Rome? How's going on before the lockdown? Come on, you got to do something tonight.
Yeah, well, this weekend will be my husband's birthday, so big celebrations. I'm arranging.
Hey, auguri.
Sorry, Mark?
Make a TikTok, show us some TikTok.
I won't be watching it. I'm off TikTok.
Cool. Mark, what about you in Florida?
We got this election thing coming up, and it's pretty scary to go out. So I'm going to self-isolate for the weekend and not see all the posters and people cheering and shouting and screaming with their own ideas. But it was a great show. Really enjoyed the company. Thank you so much, guys.
Right, cool. So me and Simone, we're going to still work during the weekend as we are preparing an amazing event, guys. And actually, this is going to be the outro of the episode today. So I wish you all guys to get in touch and subscribe to the next event we are organizing in December, Hospitality Marketplace, Jet Speech It. So it's a kind of Shark Tanks event. It's not a competition. It's a pure networking and brand awareness, environment. So I wish to really, bring on the table a lot of great company, showing, the latest trends in the industry from the tech point of view, and great audience, a lot of hoteliers. So let's have a fun for that. So I share with you now the video, and I wait for you for the next event, guys. So thank you. Have a great weekend. And remember that the show must go on FunnelTV.
Bye, guys.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye, thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.